Kwagwanji Hotel in Blantyre for the Old Mutual 2020 Guaranteed Fund Bonus Declaration. Now, the Guaranteed Fund is a trusted fund that was established by Old Mutual, where these funds and it was established in 1969. Now, let me not say too much about this. Joining us today from Old Mutual itself is actually Great Owete, who is the National Sales Manager for Old Mutual. Welcome.
Thank you.
And let's just start by understanding more about the event tonight. We're here for the bonus declaration for the Guaranteed Fund. First of all, what is the Guaranteed Fund?
So the Guaranteed Fund is our investment vehicle for all the pooled pension funds that we are handling in Malawi. So all those pooled funds are put in the Guaranteed Fund. And then maybe your next question would be, what do you guarantee?
Asking for me.
Yes.
So what do you guarantee?
So basically we're guaranteeing that whatever you put into this fund, you can never get anything less than that under any financial crisis. And then we're also guaranteeing that whatever we've given you as a vested bonus, you can never get anything less than that in any financial crisis. So we are guaranteeing that the lowest you can get on this fund is a zero. You can never get a negative on the fund.
A zero sounds pretty low to me, but let's not dwell on that.
Yeah.
Let's now focus on what one needs to do in order to be a part of the Guaranteed Fund.
So basically you need to be working under an employer. So remember there was a Pensions Act in 2011.
Yes.
So each employer needs to put their people on a pension fund. So as long as you're working, you have to be on a pension. So that's the key. If you're working, you're on a pension, you've joined the Guaranteed Fund.
Now, the Guaranteed Fund bonus declaration. Tonight, it's what we're here for. Do you want to go into much detail about it?
No, it's just we celebrate with our clients.
Yes.
So we've gone through a tough year last year with COVID and all that, but we're being transparent to our clients. We want them to know more of what happened last year, and then how much their money has grown under the Guaranteed Fund, because it's the biggest fund in Malawi. So we just want to advise them, give them more information. They need to know where they're investing their money, and they need to know everything that we're doing. There's no secret under the Guaranteed Fund. There's all transparency, and this is why we're here, to make sure everyone knows what's going on.
Now, what should people expect tonight?
They need to be happy. They expect something over and above inflation compared to last year's inflation. So their money has grown in real terms. So it's real growth because it's over and above that inflation. Sure.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Mr. Great Owete, the National Sales Manager for Old Mutual. And as you can see, we're still setting up right behind us. We will be starting soon. We will have presentations that have been organized for tonight, and we will hear more. As Gray just explained right now, it's all about transparency. It's all about letting people know what they have been investing in. For the pension fund, people who remit funds, Old Mutual invests these funds and makes sure that at the end of the day, you're able to lean on something if you retire from work. And that is what the Old Mutual Guaranteed Fund is all about. And we will be joined now soon by Emmanuel Mulele, who will also explain to us exactly what he is here for, and to tell us more about also the Guaranteed Fund and what they are involved in. And we'll be getting more on that. That is from Emmanuel Mulele. Now, let's give you a little bit more information about the Guaranteed Fund that is available on this leaflet over here. The Old Mutual Guaranteed Fund is described as a trusted fund, of course, for pension contributions, and it was established in 1969. The pooled funds are invested in high-performing, secure, and diverse investments to ensure the best returns for members, and contributions are guaranteed even in adverse market conditions. For instance, this year we have been dealing with the COVID-19, which has affected business all around, and also the pension funds were not spared here. And we see that even in these adverse market conditions, contributions are guaranteed. And what's more guaranteed is that these contributions will be invested in high-performing, secure, and diverse investments to ensure the best returns for members. And the fund aims to provide long-term capital preservation and real growth. And that is all that you need as a worker, as an employee, wherever you are. That's the Old Mutual Guaranteed Fund. And tonight, we will be getting the bonus declaration. We're still waiting now to hear more from Emmanuel Mulele and other influencers from Old Mutual. We'll be here quite shortly. Do not lose patience with us. We will be getting more on that. Now, performance of the Guaranteed Fund. The Guaranteed Fund has consistently earned returns in excess of inflation over the medium and long term.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I have your attention, please? We are ready to start. Please take your seats.
We're getting set up here at Mount Sochi Hotel in Blantyre, and I am now joined by Mr. Emmanuel Mulele. Tell us, welcome, first of all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Tell us what you're here for.
This is a good opportunity. We are here to support Old Mutual as collaborators, and we are corporate brand influencers. So we are here to make sure that the questions that have been asked by the followers, the clients, the prospects for Old Mutual we're going to relay them to experts at Old Mutual, and then they're going to answer those questions. Yes, so we are fully on our handle, the Facebook handle, and once they are polling the questions there, we'll be reading out, and the expert will be answering and clarifying those questions. Yeah.
What do you expect from the declaration tonight, from the Guaranteed Fund declaration?
I would imagine that it will be interesting, and it's something that doesn't happen often, and this is the new concept that is happening. So Old Mutual is trying to dive into the areas that people have never been. So yes, we're here to see. We can't preempt, because if we preempt, it will not be fun at all. Let's wait and see.
Definitely.
This is a flagship pension
and that's it from Mr. Emmanuel Mulele, who is here at the Old Mutual 2020 Guaranteed Fund Bonus Declaration. Let me now hand over to the Master of Ceremony, who is Eric Mataka from Old Mutual.
Equipping you with knowledge of our various products that may be of value to you. And take note, if you have any questions, we'll have an interactive session, a question and answer session towards the end. And we have all the experts here who will be ready to dissect the products, but also give clarity to some of the questions that you may have. To kick off the event, allow me to introduce the Managing Director for Old Mutual Life Assurance Company, Roy Punongwe, for the welcome remarks. A round of applause, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we all doing? I can't see the smiles behind the mask. But I take it we're doing well, as can be expected under the conditions. I think first and foremost, on behalf of Old Mutual, my family, and indeed on my own behalf, I'd like to welcome you all to the 2020 Bonus Declaration cocktail. This, of course, is an extraordinary event in many ways. We have limited attendance to the function, as you can tell. And a good percentage of our clients are actually attending the meeting virtually, meaning that we will not have the opportunity, unfortunately, to physically interact and partake in the camaraderie and merriment associated with events like this. It will really be a toned-down event compared to our past events. Our dressing also is very unique today. Our mouths are covered with masks, and we are all informed that we cannot enter into this event without a mask. And of course, the COVID-19 restrictions will have to strictly be observed today. All this underscores one thing. 2020 was not an ordinary year. And as far as our operating environment was concerned, it was very tough due to, of course, the pandemic. COVID-19 remains a huge disruptor. So did everyone else, inclusive of our customers, who many of them are here today. There were programs that were planned for our customer in 2020 that were called off, like the 2019 bonus declaration function or the trustees seminar. Suddenly, we had to come to appreciate that necessity is the mother of all invention. No one ever thought that working from home would be a key thing, but suddenly it became the key thing and the new normal in 2020. The following channels were used for our customers so that business can continue and we can continue to serve them. Email, Facebook, WhatsApp, and the toll-free number to receive queries and complaints and to respond to the same. Our goal was to remain accessible during these trying times. As we look back, we noted that there were many times that unfortunately we failed to meet the expectations of our customers. But I assure you, this was never deliberate. And we do apologize for those inconveniences whenever they were caused. But tonight, we are gathered to celebrate our resilience in these uncertain times as we declare the above inflation level bonus of 2020 for the Guaranteed Fund. We will also use this opportunity to launch our first ever communication campaign for the Guaranteed Fund, dubbed We Guarantee. That aims at unpacking the existing benefits under the Guaranteed Fund. We will also hear from business development team on the product enhancements on the Guaranteed Fund, and also interact with you, our customer, during the question and answer session. 2021 looks to be very challenging based on the experience so far. But as Old Mutual, we will continue to work hard to ensure that our customers get value from the money they invest with us. It is comforting to learn that the COVID-19 vaccine is now here. But at the same time, there is a potential third wave threat that might arise if we don't remain vigilant. This calls for us for continued diligence to observe, distance, masking up, and washing our hands thoroughly with soap wherever possible. But anyway, welcome to the party. Feel free, relax, and please enjoy the event. Thank you.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, that was the Managing Director for Old Mutual Life Assurance Company, Roy Punungwe. Another round of applause, please. As he has pointed out, 2020 operating environment has been tough, but nonetheless we're here to still celebrate our resilience as we are declaring above inflation bonuses. As the Managing Director has said, we all can't help it but smile. We can see smiles behind those masks. Now, zeroing in on the operating environment, we have here the experts, the portfolio managers who have been in charge of looking after these funds. Allow me to introduce the Managing Director for Old Mutual Investment Group, Mark Mikwamba, to tell us about the operating environment for 2020. A round of applause, please.
skies and the green on the hills. I love Africa. This is where I come from. Africa, oh Africa, my
So good evening once again, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about the mishap. Nowadays, when everything doesn't go well, the answer is COVID-19, but surely this wasn't because of COVID-19. I'll give you a snapshot in terms of the operating environment, but I can't help it but to talk about COVID-19 first. I mean, the MD of the Life Company, Mr. Roy Funungwe, talks about COVID-19 and how disruptive that pandemic has been in terms of health systems and many other things, including our own lives. But as this pandemic is unfolding, as we have seen so many waves coming through, the impact of that comes to economies. And then from there, it goes to companies. It also challenges governments in terms of execution of their budgets to meet the demands of the population, especially coming through the health systems as well as the economy at large. Now, why is that important to know? Because as the economies are struggling, as companies are struggling, that filters through to the investment outcomes that we all expect. As governments are struggling to meet the fiscal demands from various pressure points, health system, as well as expectations from the public just to live day by day, that also challenges the performance of government. Unfortunately, that also reflects in terms of investment outcomes. So really, it's COVID-19 is not just a pandemic, it is a disruptor in many cases. It has changed the way we live, the way we do things, and it has changed the way we have to look at investment as well. So with that context, I'll just briefly talk about what we experienced in the Malawi economy. In 2020, when we were going into 2020, there were economic forecasts that were made. I think the initial economic forecast was around 5% of GDP. That was what everyone was expecting, a healthy number that we all can attest to. But as we are going into the year, this economic forecast started being revised, and we ended up with a number that is closer to 0 than 5%. According to the outcome of economic activity in 2020, the economy registered 0.6% compared to the 5% that was initially projected. That was a decent performance. You might be complaining, but really that is a decent performance because the rest of sub-Saharan Africa, on average, lost 3% of their values of the economy, on average. So to gain 0.6%, that was a stellar performance in the context. Now, let me just talk about inflation, which is a subject that we all relate to because we see things that we buy on a day-to-day basis. We see our investment returns be benchmarked to inflation. So what happened in that area? Well, for 2020, inflation averaged around 8.6. That was a decent performance compared to 9.4 the previous year in 2019. So we were firmly in the single digit when it comes to inflation. The question is, where do we move from here? Because the pandemic is still here, because the landscape keeps changing. Well, according to the view that we have, we believe we should be in the single digits with a caveat on energy prices. We have seen that in February, inflation was 8.3%. There was an increase because of the energy prices that increased earlier in the year. And we have also seen some increase in fuel prices of late. That is yet to filter through the economy. And that is driven by the world economy when it comes to oil prices. The international oil prices are going up. And of course, there's so many factors that influence that. And as far as that filters through into the economy, we expect inflation to start ticking up. But our view at the moment is that inflation should stay in the single digit. I think we have got enough buffer on the other aspects of inflation, especially on the food side. So that is our opinion now when it comes to inflation, that we expect that to stay in the single digit. And it will be help affect company performance, affect personal disposable income. What we did see in terms of the interest rate environment is we saw interest rates coming down. But in terms of government yields, we saw them going up. And that is not a surprise, because as the governments are getting squeezed on the fiscal space, economies are not functioning to the level that they should be functioning. It means tax revenues are a challenge. But at the same time, the demands in terms of expenditure is under pressure. This is not just to talk about the economy of Malawi, but this is worldwide. This is a worldwide trend. The demand for public expenditure is outpacing the supply from tax revenues. And what is really coming in between is government borrowing. And as governments are demanding more money to borrow, obviously that pushes interest rates up. So we saw interest rates going up in 2020. The average 2019 was 9.3. We ended up at an average of 11%. That is on the short term of the market. But on the long term of the market, we saw interest rates really slightly more higher than 11%. What is the implication of that? Obviously, from an investment perspective, if we get higher interest, it's good news. But as governments are borrowing more money and as interests are staying very high, it does affect other investments. So it's not winning one side and winning all sides. There's some offsetting factors. But if we look at it from just this aspect, high interest rates, as we registered in 2020, meant that our investments did well from that perspective. The other thing that we pay attention to is the exchange rate. Exchange rate is a very important factor that we consider. Although we are fully invested in the local economy, but we know that the economy is impacted by exchange rate. The more we buy things from the outside, the more we import inflation from outside, the more we impact the exchange rate. Now, what we saw in 2020 was a moderation in exchange rate. For the past few years, we saw our exchange rate being very stable. It could be arguments for and against that, and why not. But the reality is, for the past few years, we saw the exchange rate being stable. But later in the year, we saw a moderation of the exchange rate. The level at which the exchange rate moderated from our long-term assumptions, that's not a big concern. The big concern is, can we sustain that moderate exchange rate movement? As we speak now, I think statistics are showing us that the reserves are below 3 months import cover. But I think thankfully we haven't seen a serious dip in terms of the exchange rate, because that really helps us to manage the inflation part, which is a concern, which is something that we always pay attention to when we invest in funds for our clients like yourselves. On the equity market, which is again another area that we pay attention to very closely, we experienced some mixed news there. Some companies did extremely well, while others were challenged in terms of their performance. But the overall combination of that was a 7% uplift in terms of the Malawi Stock Exchange. Now, you're getting 11%, roughly 11% from the treasury bill market. You're getting 7% from the stock market. That is the context of the environment that we operated in 2020. In a nutshell, one would expect 11 or 7, or a combination of the two. That speaks to the outcome of our investment performance in 2020. But as any crisis does, there are problems, there are challenges, but there are also big opportunities. I mean, companies have started adjusting, they have adjusted how to do things, they have created new ways of doing things. It also creates opportunities for investments, especially for long term, which speaks to the guaranteed fund, targeting especially the real economy. That's where we want to play, because we think that's where we can create value in a sustainable way for the future. 2021 is challenging, but we hope with the COVID-19 vaccine being rolled out, things hopefully will not be as bad as they were in 2020. So I think in conclusion, 2020 from an investment performance perspective, from an economic perspective, was very challenging. That is the context in which the business declared the bonuses that they have declared. For the future, we continue to look for very attractive investment opportunities, and we continue to adjust our strategies to reflect that, so that our investment performance can be sustainable, which is number one, that we should beat inflation at all times, or as much as we can, because inflation takes away the value of money. So if we can continue to give returns that are above inflation, that's the first hurdle that we want to reach, that we want to maintain. And next is to give as high as returns as we possibly can. So yeah, with the hope that we can manage this pandemic effectively, we hope that the outcomes for 2021 would be better than those in 2020. Of course, that is not a commitment, that is not a prospect, but that is what we are trying to achieve. Thank you so much.
Another round of applause, please. That was our Managing Director for Old Mutual Investment Group, Mark Nikwamba, telling us about the operating environment for 2020. Indeed, 2020 was challenging due to COVID-19. As you may recall, last year, Old Mutual rolled out a campaign celebrating 175 years of operation, which just speaks to the experience that we have accumulated over the years and how we managed to weather several storms, not just COVID-19, and we hope to continue weathering the storms that come in the future. Now, as we go through our daily lives, there are a lot of questions that we need to ask ourselves, and one of the questions that we need to ask ourselves, whether are we saving enough for the future, or what we are saving, is it going to enable our employees live a comfortable life? Here with us today, again, call upon the Managing Director for Old Mutual Life Assurance Company, Roy Punungwe, to talk to us about the Guaranteed Fund, tell us more about what the Guaranteed Fund is and how it can help us answer some of these questions, how we can grow our pension, but also to declare the 2020 bonus for the Guaranteed Fund. A round of applause for Roy Punungwe.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you to Mark for providing context in terms of the environment we are operating in, and just providing the backdrop for this next stage of the presentation. So, like many of you already know, the Old Mutual Guaranteed Fund has a 52-year track record of unrivaled dominance in the market. It is a powerful retirement solution that offers competitive rates and returns that outperform the market in the long run. It's also a powerful retirement solution that offers you stability and security. And last but not least, it's also a powerful retirement solution that has been ensuring good pension fund growth and safety for 52 years. So what are the key features of this flagship investment vehicle? Rewards, security, stability, and diversification. Those are the key features you need in any investment vehicle in relation to pension funds. It means the fund will never ever get lower than the amount that you have put in as an investment. And also over time, the portion of the investment growth is also guaranteed by Old Mutual. This is made possible given the financial strength of Old Mutual. We are able to be in a position to provide that necessary security, that necessary peace of mind, that even in distressed markets, we will be able to pay you your guaranteed benefits. Stability. I think we can all agree that these times are very volatile and very uncertain. Because we smooth your returns over time, that ensures that the bonuses that we declare never experience low volatility. The bonuses we declare always have low volatility and also high predictability in uncertain times like now. So you are going to see the benefits of having this guaranteed fund in distressful times as we're experiencing and we're living them now. Last but not least, diversification. This is the ability to invest in diverse asset classes for a balanced risk exposure. The guaranteed fund is nearly 300 billion in size. It's a large fund. But because we have such a large fund, that enables us to tap into diverse investment options, essentially allowing us to divest optimally. For smaller funds, for example, segregated funds that are smaller, they don't have this benefit. So it's very difficult for them to divest optimally. Essentially, they can only put their eggs in just a few buckets. But with the guaranteed fund, we can that give us the advantage of diversification. If this pandemic has taught us anything, diversification is essential. It is essential when it comes to wealth protection. So let me talk briefly about the guaranteed fund builder. What makes up the guaranteed fund? Just to provide that transparency so that you understand how we manage this fund. So it's made up of 4 building blocks. The first one is the net contributions. These are all the contributions that you pay in, less of course the benefits payments and the fees that are deducted. This is the initial capital in which investment returns are earned on. When these returns are earned, bonuses are then declared. But the bonuses come in 2 forms. You have your vested bonuses and you have your non-vested bonuses. Your vested bonuses, that's the portion of bonuses that are declared annually in arrears that we guarantee. You also have your non-vested bonuses. They are also declared annually in arrears, but of course in adverse market conditions, in very adverse market conditions, they may be removed. Let me pause here for a second. Despite this has never happened in any of our markets we operate as Old Mutual. Not even in our neighboring country, Zimbabwe, where the market conditions have been volatile for the last 15 years. We did not even do that. And not even during this current pandemic. So the adverse conditions really have to be very extreme. Last but not least, we have the bonus smoothing account. This is the smoothing pool used to cushion the fund in times of low returns to reduce the short-term volatility on the member's portfolio. At the center of this bonus smoothing account is the smoothing concept, which I will come back to in the next slide after this. So in a nutshell, that is the build-up. From a virtual standpoint, those are the buckets. That's the build-up of the guaranteed fund with your net contributions, your vested bonuses. That's the guaranteed option, where we speak in terms of saying we guarantee. That's the guaranteed portion. And of course, your non-vested bonuses. And of course, the bonus smoothing account. So let me come back to this interesting piece here. This concept of smoothing. We call it the beauty of smoothing. Smoothing is a concept that has been used in many fields. It is used to manage future uncertainty and volatility. For example, in agriculture, since the beginning of agriculture, farmers have always recognized the need to manage their stock of grain, to prevent starvation in times of uncertainty, in times of scarcity. Similar to us, as shown in the graph, in periods of high returns, bonuses declared tend to be lower than the net investment returns. That means the excess amount is reserved for. It's a concept that has been with us for many, many years, thousands of years. It's not new, but we are using it because of the benefits it provides. So this is just a view of smoothing in action. As you can see, the Old Mutual bonus rates versus the guaranteed fund returns. As you can see that the Old Mutual bonus rates is a lot smoother than the guaranteed fund returns, which are very reactive to the market. So, how is your money invested to maximize long-term returns? This is our target asset allocation. As you can see, 60% in equity. We have a great team there with Mark under OMIC. Equity is where the growth is. So a big chunk of the money is in equity. We also have at least a third in interest-bearing assets, and also a little bit in the property space. As you can see where we are now, in terms of our allocation, we are meeting the 60%. We are a bit short on the property side with 7%. From our target of 10%, and we're a bit over in terms of the interest-bearing assets. This is the Old Mutual Guaranteed Fund performance as of December 31st, 2020. As you can see, the return in the guaranteed fund was 8.2%, and we have inflation at 8.6%. Those who have already been looking at the paper that has been provided already know the bonus that's going to be declared is higher than inflation and is also higher than the return on the guaranteed fund. This is made possible by the bonus smoothing account and the smoothing concept that we employ. Over a 3 or 5 and 10-year cycle, you can see that we have performed as a guaranteed fund way better than inflation, and that just speaks to that continued performance, of course, the credibility, the 52-year track record that is in the guaranteed fund. Now we compare the Old Mutual return versus the performance on the Malawi Stock Exchange. Over a 3, 5, and 10-year cycle, it's very evident that we have market-beating returns, thanks to, of course, our great professionals in the investment group. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached that stage of the presentation where we make it official, where we formalize the bonus we want to declare for the guaranteed fund for 2020. So 11% is the bonus we're declaring for the guaranteed fund for 2020, which is above inflation and higher than the guaranteed fund returns of 8.2. As you know, I spoke to vested and non-vested bonuses. 8% is going to be vested and 3% is going to be in the non-vested bucket. 2020 was a tough year, but we still managed to get some highlights. Among those, we managed to grow the guaranteed fund by around 10% to just under 300 billion. We also launched the 3 Anchors season, second season, and also there was a lot of free financial education that was sponsored by Old Mutual. I will allow my bank assurance manager, Chisomo, to speak in more detail around the highlights of 2020. What's happening in 2021? So these are the goodies that are coming soon in 2021. We have the enhanced annuity product. We also have the end-to-end funeral services, which we launched late last year, called Mutunzi. We also have the USSD services that we are expanding this year. We are also enhancing our GLA proposition sometime this year. I will also allow the corporate sales manager, Philip, to speak in more detail in terms of the goodies that are coming in 2021. In short, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the presentation. I would like to thank you very much. I hope the presentation was informative in terms of just providing the necessary transparency when it comes to the guaranteed fund. I also hope that you are happy with the bonus that was declared, especially under the environment that we are currently in that Mark spoke to. 2021 is going to be tough, but we are very hopeful and optimistic that will still come out on top if you stay with Old Mutual. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Another round of applause, please. I'm sure we are all excited about the bonus and having learned about the guaranteed fund. For those of us who are just tuning in to Times TV and watching us live on Facebook, Times or Old Mutual pages, we are here at Mount Sochi in the city of Blantyre for the Old Mutual 2020 bonus declaration event. Now, one of the things that has come out from Roy's presentation is that the guaranteed fund enables small as well as large pension funds to be invested in the guaranteed fund. I think that's very exciting. And Roy also spoke about the new initiatives that are in the pipeline for 2021. As a listening brand and as a company that is continuously looking at ways of improving our customers, we have got several initiatives that are planned out for this year. It is my pleasure to introduce the corporate sales manager for Old Mutual Life Assurance Company, Philip, who will take us through the initiatives that are in the pipeline for 2021. Thank you. Philip Waluza. A round of applause, please. Also, as Philip is coming in, also note that the bar is open. You are free to order drinks from your seats, and you'll be served from where you're sitting. Thank you.
Good evening once again, ladies and gentlemen. I've got a small duty this evening to take you through some of the enhancements that we are currently doing as Old Mutual on one of our products known as the with profit annuity. It is our duty as Old Mutual not only to take care of the younger you while you are working, but we also strive to take care of the older you in your retirement life. This is why this evening we'd like to give you some highlights on some of the enhancements that we have come up with on one of our products. The with profit annuity product. So we have got two exciting things that we would like to share with you, our clients, this evening. One of which is the medical insurance cover. We've actually partnered with Precious Medical Insurance Limited. And in our partnership with immediate effect, we will start offering medical cover to all our pensioners on the with profit annuity book. What does this mean? With only 2,500 kwacha. Yes, only 2,500 kwacha. All our pensioners will be able to access medical cover through the so-called Chiparara scheme. The maximum annual limit of the cover is up to 1 million kwacha. Just to give you some highlights on some of the things that will be covered, it will actually cover things like blood transfusion. It will cover things like major and minor procedures, just to mention a few. So this is one of the enhancements that we are currently actually doing. So I've actually talked to that enhancement that we are currently doing. The other one is called the funeral insurance cover. So what we are actually currently doing, we are in the process of finalizing this process. What will actually happen is that we will actually provide funeral cover to all our annuitants, the pensioners. Their cover amount will range from 500,000 Malawi kwacha to 1 million. So this will be paid in an event of death of the pensioner. For those in Blantyre and surrounding areas, they will actually enjoy the Ntunzi funeral services, the end-to-end Ntunzi funeral services. I'm happy to let you know that this cover will start by the end of September. So, ladies and gentlemen, these were the two updates that actually I came up with on the with profit annuity. Enjoy your evening. Thank you.
Good evening, our distinguished clients. I'm being reminded that this is a live event and we have some 3 minutes before we go off line. So I'll make my presentation very fast just to cover and to update our clients who couldn't be with us, but they are sitting in their homes. So I think just an extension to what Philip has presented, the medical insurance, we are also glad to announce that for the existing clients, not just pensioners, we have extended the Ntunzi funeral offer to all our clients who are currently with us on the funeral insurance cover. So the those members that are covered under 600,000 kwacha benefit for member, spouse at 500,000 and children at 500,000, they can also immediately start accessing our Ntunzi funeral services home. I'm sure you are all aware where Ntunzi is housed, ex-Chanache funeral parlor. That's where Ntunzi is. Going forward, we also just want to remind our clients to say, much as COVID-19 is there, we are still doing our retirement planning sessions. So if you have that need, please do not hesitate to contact us. I think you just saw what Philip has highlighted. Retirement is real, and we would want to prepare our members to live well in their retirement life. So actually our sessions prepares the members that are to retire emotionally, but we also look at the income that they currently have and the expenses that they are to expect in future. And if possible, we also advise them to realign the savings that they currently have. So we also assess the debt level, and we provide proper advice to those that are close to retirement. I think Roy also spoke to the USSD facility. We just want to confirm that this is indeed currently up and running. What we want from our members is the current updated phone numbers that you have. If you have them readily available, please send them to us to enable us to put you on this facility. So what will happen is you would have members get instant checking of their benefits. They don't have to go to HR office to look for a statement, so they'll be able to check via their phones. But we would also like to highlight that the online statement is there. Currently we have a little clientele that are using this facility, but you see people coming to Old Mutual looking for their statement. They left employment and they are looking at their statement. So if you engage us, there are several options there. It can be given to all members or to the HR section or to management only, depending on the requirements or the sensitivity of the information that you share within your organization. To enable us, I think we've got feedback from the online facility. Many would say, but your website is not updated. We also have a security file transfer protocol. This, and it's an enhancement to the submission of the schedules that you give unto us. So what you do is, while you are seated in your office, you transfer an Excel file to us. So what happens is there is no human intervention on that data that you submit. So it also reduces the human error that would be there. So you'd find that the online facility would be up to date all the time. But also, we've noted that most of the people that are coming into our offices, they don't know their CRM. CRM is the initiative that we've had in the past 2 years. We have client relationship managers amongst us, and we are engaging you as our clients to say, Chisomo, you mentioned, can you please direct me to the client relationship manager of my account? We are just trying to provide a personalized service so that you should not be tossed around to say, maybe I don't know where your claim is. Maybe ask Gray or ask Chisomo. We want you to get that information instantly. So after this, you can come to me. I'll direct you to your client relationship manager. In a nutshell, we also wanted to touch on the compliance requirements. I think you've been getting a lot of the information from Old Mutual. So there are compliance requirements that Old Mutual, as a corporate trustee, is also expected to deliver to the regulator. So I think you've seen some emails flying around asking you to sign off our fund rules and group life policy. That's a compliance issue, and we are engaging you, our clients, to sign off those forms. There is also an issue of centralized national pension data, which came through our CRMs. They engaged you on the requirements for you to submit this data. So it's the data that we are at the end of the day submitting to Reserve Bank, and they are coming up with the centralized pension data, which will keep all the details of pensioners or members at the end of a certain period. So even after you leave your employment now, you can always access that information wherever you go as a member. There is also an issue of VAT compliance. I think most of the members do not know that pension administration fees are now attracting VAT. This was effective 1st September, and if you are not complying, let's talk tomorrow, and I would get you around how you do the calculations. Actually, it's 16.5% of the administration fees that you're remitting to Old Mutual. There is also an issue of pension contributions and group life assurance contributions. Most of them are in arrears. We just wanted to remind the clients to say pension contributions are due on the 14th of every month, the following month, after you do your deductions. So we submit monthly reports, and most of the employers are not complying with this requirement. So we want to remind you of that. But also there are dormant members that are sitting in our funds. I think as employers, we need to take that initiative to follow through. If you have members leaving your fund, let them provide a form so that we transfer them to a protector fund. Because what happens is if we are charging an administration cost, we are also charging on that member who's not a member of your pension fund. So the fund will suffer more costs than what is expected to suffer. But you also, that when you say your fund has grown, maybe it's at 2 billion, you find that the dormant members are also there. So that's understating the actual assets of the fund. So when you go back, look at the statements that we normally give you, and clear out the dormant membership. The last thing I wanted to touch on was on beneficiary nomination forms. As Old Mutual, as corporate trustee, we are mandated to decide on who gets the benefits if a member dies, if a member of a pension fund. We don't want you to suffer. You have your own beneficiaries. You have people that are financially dependent on you. Please take the message across to our members to fill in a current beneficiary nomination form. We currently have a lot of these, and Old Mutual on a daily basis are deciding who to pay. In a nutshell, those are the updates that I had in terms of operations and administration. Thank you.
That was our bank assurance manager, Chisomo Chibwana, taking us through some of the initiatives that we have. A round of applause, please. A bit of some good news will not be cut off shortly. We've been given a few minutes. So those of you who are watching us from home, on TV, as well as from on our Facebook pages. We'll still have a few minutes to answer your questions. Now, as we continue to understand our market, it has been noted that a lot of people do not understand a lot of products that we currently have. And that's why as Old Mutual, we have got the free financial education program. In addition to that, we have also planned something for the year 2021, focusing on the guaranteed fund. So I think some of you might have noted that we have got those banners with the words "we guarantee." Specifically, what are we guaranteeing? Here with us today is Old Mutual Marketing and Communications Manager, Patience Chatsika, to take us through the launch of the We Guarantee campaign. A round of applause, please.
I'm looking at the beautiful skies and the green on the hills. I love Africa.
What is taking to guarantee the benefits that are on the